It's Toby from Heavyweight MMA. Lucky today to have two of the best podcasters out of Australia. We've got Mitch Tinley from Australian MMA and Joel Rasmus from Southern Cross Combat. How are you, boys?
Good.
I'm well. It's a real meeting of the minds today. I'm very excited for it. Thank you for setting this up. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. I'm pretty pumped just to have you lads, because you guys kind of lead the way in focusing on Australian MMA, and I've been into it for a little while too, on Australian and New Zealand sort of front more, and it's good to get us all together.
Yeah, you're like flying a flag in China or something, aren't you?
Pretty much, bro. I'm over here. I'm half Asian now, half China from the waist up, and
well, you're the road to UFC guy. Like that's your thing, man. Because it's Australians and New Zealanders fighting in Asia. Like that's you right there.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so pumped for this card, UFC325, man. They got the finals. I'm more pumped for the finals of Road to UFC than I am for Volk fighting again, which is kind of strange to say, but only because I've been following the lads along their journey.
Nah, I agree. And Joel, I feel like Joel's similar to me. Like, we barely care about the actual UFC. Like, when you're in like the regions, we're like, woo! And we watch the prelims, and then it gets to the main card, and we're like, all right.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say, I don't have too many notes for this, on this card. I've got the card pulled up here, and it's like Serghei Spivac versus Ante Delija. And I'm like, I don't know who those guys are. It's none of my business. Yep. Those guys can sort whatever differences they have, but there'll be Donmar fans fighting. Whoa!
Yeah. That's the funny thing. But this card's kind of interesting. 325, like, it's an international card. The last one that we watched in Australia was Reyes versus what's his name, Ulberg, and that fight and that card was great for Australians, great for us to watch, but it wasn't so good internationally. This one's got a few international fighters, so it's a bit more interesting for everyone, us included.
Yeah, it's felt a little bit like that, eh? Like they've gone, like they're like, oh, we know Australians will sell out and they'll bloody love it anyway, so. They just kind of go, you guys would be good. We'll just serve you like Jimmy Crute for the 10th time, and we're all like legitimately like, yay, we love Jimmy.
Yeah, go Jim.
Exactly. How you guys going? That's the question. I'm assuming you guys are going to get there. Have you got tickets? Are you going as press, or what's going to happen for UFC 325?
Press for me.
Yeah. Press for me, and I've now taken it for granted. So it used to be like, oh my God, we're at the UFC accepted us as press. Oh my God. Now I'm just like, I'll put my application in later. Like, so, but I wish I could just go as a fan, to be honest, because the press tickets are never great, sometimes non-existent, and sometimes I just like to watch the show. But I'm hearing from people that the prices are already outrageous.
Yeah, bro. I bought a ticket for $1,000 and it's well back. It's like, fuck me. $1,000 is a lot of money, and I'm right back like halfway up the fucking arena, Anyway.
The difference between the fight night cards to the pay-per-view, like, I mean, it's, Mitchell and I will remember what it was like being there like week of UFC Perth, the fight night. It was really like, did people know that there's a UFC event on, and then they chuck Volk on a card and they're like, the price is going back up?
Oh, mate, it was crazy. It was like 75. I think it went down to $75 for a ticket for the Reyes versus Ulberg one. And literally, like, I remember we even asking them press day, we're like, is there a problem with tickets? They're like, nah. Then literally like 2 hours later, they were like 85% off. And then back to Sydney, they're like, hey, remember us? We don't. It's like when the airport, you know what it reminds me of? When the airports during COVID were all like, oh, we're all in this together. Like, they didn't just like scam you $200 for being a kilo over. And they're like, nah, we're on the same team. And then COVID went over again. They went, ticket prices right back up. That's what the UFC's doing.
Yeah. Oh, you want to go somewhere? Oh, you want to see Volk fight? That'll be a grand, please.
Yeah, I'm hitting the bank hard coming over, actually. Coming over to watch in January is a bit of a hike. It's a pricey tickets at that time from China, flying over to Australia. But yeah. All right, lads. So
go get a corner pass.
Bro, we're looking at 325. We're going to go top to bottom or bottom to top? What do you reckon?
I mean, top to bottom to build, I suppose.
So so building is going bottom to top, yeah? So let's go. Start with the Road to UFC one, seeing as that's the only thing I really know most about. You guys know about these fighters out of interest? So we talk about Don Marfan, Kim Sang-wook. Have you guys watched that Kim Sang-wook at all? I'm sure you're experts on Don Marfan, but what about his opponent?
Yeah, he was entertaining, but I don't like and this is me obviously being incredibly biased when Aussies start fighting, but I think Don Marfan's probably the strongest favorite we've got out of all the finalists, and that's a massive call. But I don't think what did you say? Sang-wook?
Kim Sang-wook.
Kim Sang-wook. I saw some of his fights, and he just didn't have as much intimidation factor as I feel like Marfan has had.
Yeah, bro. I think for me, I'm the same. I've got for each of these, I've just got a little AI prediction because I know we're going to be all super biased, right? And it says, Sang-wook's experience grinds out a submission in round 2. AI can get
wow.
They got it wrong because they got it around the wrong way. I'd say Don Marfa grinds out a submission in round 2. This guy's athletic, big. He was a Navy SEAL, so he's got some drive. He's got some grunt about him, but he doesn't seem.
Yeah, but
he doesn't seem good anyway, does he? He's from Korea. You know, you can't hurt Korea.
Exactly. No, but I'm just saying, Korean Navy SEAL, not the same.
Maybe a bit of an assumption, but yeah, probably.
Everyone's in the military over there, bro. They have to be.
Yeah, you have to be. You know,
they're letting everyone in.
Yeah.
The Frogman, bro. I think Don Marfa. You mentioned there, Mitch, about you reckon, which is a huge call to make, but I'm not also surprised by that call that Don Marfa may be the odds-on favorite for the Australian/New Zealanders who are in the tournament. But I think when the tournament started, he was like the biggest underdog because he was going up against the favorite. Dom was going up against Yuji, who was like, oh, this guy's going to win and he's going to make the UFC. And then he went out there and absolutely shut down Yuji. It's kind of the whole MMA math thing, but I think Dom Marfan stole his power, dude. I think now Dom becomes the number one guy to win the tournament. And you're right, Toby. We're all this whole thing's just going to be like, I think the Australian will win. That's all it's going to be. The multi is just going to be that. But I mean, Sung has been stopping people in the tournament. That's always cool. That's always building. And Dom has been going to decisions, but they're gritty, gross, bleeding decisions. Yeah. He is just punishing his opponent. Don Marfan goes out there to I'm going to inflict as much damage on you in the 15 minutes that I can. Kind of sadistic. He's a lovely guy, but it is kind of gross.
Yeah, it's his mindset's changed, right? He didn't used to be so aggressive that now he's really trying to hurt people in the ground fighting, especially trying to land those elbows and shots that he didn't used to, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what are we thinking, man? I'm thinking Don Marfan sub round 2. What are you guys thinking?
Oh, I think just a bloody violent decision like he does. He's like David Martinez with knives. It'll just be like that grindy sort of violent. You walk up and you go to the judges and everyone knows who won. Like that type of thing, but decision.
I could see either that or a ground and pound TKO from Dom. Dom has that. Ooh. As Mitch says Mitchy. Sorry, Mitch and Tinley together. Me and your grandmother calling you Mitchy, apparently. I could see that happening. It's Dom grounding someone, holding them down, either big elbows or big shots, almost like a Dagestani handcuff coming under the bottom. I could see him doing something like that.
Very specific.
All right,
I don't know why. It just came to me in a vision.
We jump to the next one. Keiichiro Nakamura versus Szalay. What are your thoughts? I'll just say the prediction from AI is Salay's current streak extends with a decision win, showcasing superior striking. Ooh. What are your thoughts?
Oh, let me go first here. I reckon Szalay, a man that I have set a high bar for a very long time. I think first round knockout. I think the reason why I think Don Marfan's the favorite is I think it's in comparison to who he's up against, where I think Seb is up against a tougher guy, but I think he's just, I don't know, I think he's in the best form of his career, and I think he knows now how to really put guys' lights out. And if he doesn't do this now, he knows it. He might not get his chance in the UFC. So I think this is it, and I'm going to say first round knockout.
Joel?
I was incredibly impressed by Seb's last fight. He's always an impressive guy, but a switch up in camps. He's moved back to Perth. He's moved back home, training under the great Louis Strose. Goes out there less than a minute, knocks the guy out. I want to see him build on that momentum. I could see a finish. I could also see a really kind of technical decision from Seb. I just want to see Like when he got that less than a minute knockout, I was so excited for Seb. It's awesome. It's always good when that happens for a fighter. But I want to see kind of how he's changed since going to Luistros. We know how good Luistros is. So in a weird way, if it is a finish, I would hope for like a second half of the second round, because I just want to see kind of how Seb has changed and developed now that he's switched up gyms. Coming from a great gym from freestyle, going to another great gym like Luistros, I just want to see kind of how he's evolved.
Yeah,
he'll probably win by head kick the way Luistros goes.
Yes, correct.
It'll be head kick. You know the boys are just spamming head kicks these days and knocking people dead. It'll be that.
I would not shock me, especially with Seb's karate background. Maybe we get like Delija or Machida front kick.
Hey, watching that Nakamura in the road to UFC. You know, in live fights are just a bit different. There's a different sort of feeling. And when I watched that guy, I felt something special about his power. And it was just, he was landing really solid shots. I watched it back again on the UFC Fight Pass. It wasn't quite the same as in reality. He had a really good fight with that Lee Kai-Wen, and it was a nice, really strong fight, man. Something was special about him. But in saying that, I think there's game plans against him, because he's kind of the guy that waits to counter and then throws kind of single hard shots and then doesn't really have anything much after that. So it depends how Seb approaches it. If he just lets that guy play his game, he could be in shit. But I think he's smart enough to have a game plan where he'll bait him a bit, get him to throw that shot and then counter after. And I think that's probably his way to get victory. Yeah. Any thoughts?
I think Seb is so good on the back foot. I feel like we've seen a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
But I could see him. I mean, Seb's 10-1. He kind of knows what he has to do. I think if he can use that, if he can balance the light kind of karate jumping style that he has, but also like, which he knows how to do, especially after his last fight, hit heavy, make the shots count. Because as you said, this guy also can use those kind of baits and those feints. So if he can close the distance, land effectively, and land heavily, I see Seb doing very well.
Cool. So
he's got that gritty grindy. He's got that gritty grindy style in him. We just have never really seen it.
So what's your final prediction on that one? Both of you got Seb by KO or what?
Yeah, second round
first
for
round.
me.
All right. I'm thinking of points. I'm thinking Seb by points. Just seeing that guy, he's pretty good. He looks fit to the end of the fight as well. So we'll see. Next one, Lawrence Louis versus Sulang Rangbo. What do you think about this one? It's a pretty interesting fight too.
I mean, look, Lawrence Louis, I like this one. He was the real X factor coming in. I feel like if anyone you went, oh wow, he's in. Like there was a bit of that. Where now you're going, oh yeah, he's in. Like I feel like he's been one of the most dominant per what you were expecting coming in. I didn't know much about Lawrence after it, but it's just like, I don't know. I get more and more surprised each time I see him. I know sweet F all about his opponent, to be honest, by watching like his fight, but it's not like I analyzed it or anything. But yeah, look, if I had a prediction, mate, I still think Lawrence Louis, I think he's going to get like a ground and pound TKO and just move on to the next world.
Yeah, man. The thing about Sulang Rangbo is he's one of those natural sort of guys, super fast, which is similar to Lawrence's last opponent. Super fast, but very powerful as well. And I think that's the kind of old adage of someone who's super fast and athletic versus someone who's a grinder and does everything they can to be the best they can, So Lawrence, I don't think he cuts any corners. He grinds. He trains really hard in everything. He's an all-round MMA fighter. Sulang Rangbo seems more like a stand-up guy with really good athleticism. So it's kind of, let's see. Lawrence, I think, needs to grapple him early if he can, which was what he was trying to do with his last guy, and that set up the shot. He faked low and threw a kind of weird punch, which caught him. So I think that's the way. Again, he's grind a bit, take a bit of his his power away, and grind him out to a decision victory. That's what I'm thinking.
I see something similar. I apologize to Lawrence because I don't know exactly which fight it was. One of the two, I believe in one of the two Road to UFC fights, Lawrence got dropped in one of them. His opponent coming into the finale has 6 wins by KO or TKO. I think he needs to be very aware of that power because although I'm not saying that I have any doubts in Lawrence's chin, I don't want to see it checked. I would prefer you don't get hit with a heavy shot than get hit with a heavy shot and eat it. So I think, yes, that kind of cage pressure, grindy style, get him down, and almost like like if you're gonna get a victory here, I see it being by kind of TKO. Although that being said, that straight right that he landed in his his semi-final fight, that was awesome. But also it made you jump out of your chair because you were like, oh, I didn't expect Lawrence to do that, which is awesome because that's what I think, as Mitch was saying, I think Lawrence was kind of like an unsung guy coming into this. Very quiet dude, lovely guy, but very, very quiet. And I think more performances like that, getting a round 2 KO like he did in the semifinals, that is how you begin to build out and grow yourself and have people go, this is where Lawrence belongs. And I think that's what he's going to be looking to prove. But I see him doing the cage wrestling, grindy, very technical performance.
One interesting thing with Lawrence, when I met him at Road to UFC, he's a pretty skinny, sort of normal skinny Chinese dude you kind of expect. But then he came over afterwards, after the fight, to do a seminar in Hong Kong in a gym called Versus Gym. And he's a pretty thick dude, actually. Like when he's off season, when he's not in the fight, he's pretty thick. I like a strong dude. I'd say he's pretty big for the kind of weight division. He look a little bit skinnier around the fight time. It worries me though a little bit because of that. When that first fight he got chinned and he dropped for a second, like just worries me a little bit. When they had those massive weight cuts, it can affect you, right? It can get knocked out a little bit easier. So with someone like Rangbo, who's really like a good striker, let's hope he doesn't get cracked right on the chin before he gets a chance to grind him out a bit.
Something I like also about Lawrence, not necessarily from a fighting technical perspective, although I do enjoy that, is after his last fight, yet again, I'm going to butcher the exact quote, but he was like, thank you guys. I'm not going to speak Mandarin because I am whitewashed. And there's like a little bit of personality there. He cracked a joke. And I was like, Lawrence, more of that, dude.
He's so funny. He's actually so funny. Like before I met him, I was like, oh yeah, he's just like some dude, like trains, whatever. And the way he talks, he's like, yeah, I think I could become UFC world champion and my father still wouldn't be impressed. And he's just like, the way he talks, man. He's like, he's that subtle, like he's a subtle star with how he's got personality.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one, boys. The next one, I think it could potentially be a fight of the night. It's like two immovable forces, Aaron Toe versus Namsrai Batbayar. The Batbayar's from Mongolia, Aaron's Maori background. These two warriors, man, coming together. They both want to smash people and they're both going to come head to head and fucking flog each other, you know? What are you guys' thoughts on this one?
Oh, mate, exactly that. I think decision, either one, fight of the night. Like it's just... Aaron Toe, I don't believe is going to be like a world champion or anything. Like I think he's fucking amazing, but I think he loves the fight more than he loves the win, which actually should put him in legend status in a weird way. Like he would rather bleed and be the people's main event than grind out a decision. And unfortunately, that might stop you from getting like to where you want to be. But you'll probably, it's like Dan Hooker. Like at the end of the day, like what's Dan Hooker like, quote unquote, like accomplished in terms of like titles and everything? Nothing. But compare him to some of the other guys and he's an absolute legend. And I think that's exactly what Toe is. I think he is durable. He does have a chin. He can take a shot and he just keeps going. And I think for a man that has kind of lived in Hooker's shadow for so long, he finally gets an opportunity to be his own man type thing. And I think he's really going to sort of dive deep into this. Now, recapping on all of it though, I don't think the guys that we're fighting in the finals are on any four of their levels. Like, I don't think that when these four guys win that they're going to go to the UFC and then all of a sudden be world beaters. That's not what I'm saying. I just think the guys that they're taking on, and we're all realizing this, that Australia is just on a different level to Asia in terms of MMA.
Yeah, they've gone into supposedly an Asian kind of centric thing. They're supposed to be trying to get some nice Asian guys to get into the UFC to build the customer base. And they've fucked up because now it's just back to Australia and New Zealand. The show's in Australia and it's just half Australian New Zealanders. I'm sure they're thinking, fuck, we fucked up. What did we let them in for?
Exactly. That's what we do, man. Look what we did to Bali. Like we come in and we ruin cool shit in Asia and then we bounce. And that's what we're doing to the Road to UFC tournament. And then I reckon next year will be New Zealand versus Australia or something like that.
The only different thing in there, though, we've still got Dom and Lawrence to kind of pretend they're from China and whatnot. Exactly, tick the box.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that fight, to Aaron, I think the biggest thing in Aaron's way is himself. So it depends how he wants to prep for this one, and how he wants to fight. He's a pretty loose guy. You mentioned Dan. Him and Dan are both loose as, you know. You don't know what you're going to get, and they don't necessarily listen to the corner. They kind of do what they want. They love fighting. Their fighting spirit's cool. And Aaron's got a hand of God too. When he touches people, they fall. I've been worried about him in a couple of fights. Back in his in New Zealand, he was fighting one of those mixed ones. I can't remember. It was Jason Suddy's shows, and he fought a real good Thai boxer, and he just touched him, and he fell over. Arsenal X, Arsenal X rules or something. And he just touched the guy. Every time he touched him, the guy fell over, and it was a gun Thai boxer, man. So I think he can chin anyone. This guy can obviously chin people too. I think it's the first one to chin, the other one wins. So let's see how we go. Let's see how we go. I reckon it's not going to last. I reckon I'm betting on that one. Won't finish the third round. I reckon I'll win on that one. I'm hoping it's Aaron to chin him first anyway.
I think there's a reason why Dan Hooker and Aaron Toe are friends. I think there's a very easy kind of like comparison to make, both personality wise and just like what Mitch said, where it's like they just get into wars. They love this shit, to borrow a Dan Hooker expression. Yeah. But I think if it comes down to anything, I think in the MMA math world of things, Aaron suffered his first loss on the road to not road to UFC, on the Contender Series. His opponent lost on the regional series, like in the regions. That's just a level of opponent. If we're just going to base it off anything, that's what I'm basing it off. Obviously, this is all just going to be, we're all just going to pick the Anzacs, basically. But yeah, like Aaron is hectic. Aaron is always entertaining. There's a reason why, and I remember many moons ago, Mitchell and I spoke about this once. There's a reason why Aaron isn't in the UFC, but people get around him. When you do an interview with Aaron, there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of views when you compare it to a guy who is in the UFC. And there's a reason for that. It's because people get around and people know he is an entertaining fighter. He delivers. His last fight, he said he wanted to get bonus of the night on Contenders. He wanted to be the first guy to get a performance bonus on Contenders. I don't know if they do performance bonus for Road to UFC, but I could see him being the first guy getting a fight of the night bonus for Road to UFC. He should have got it for his last one.
Yeah, true.
And also what Mitchell said, I also wanted to touch on that. There is a reason why this event, like the finals of the Road to UFC, are happening in Australia. There's a reason that the UFC can see, oh man, all these guys are really good. All right, let's put them locally, pop the crowd. And it would not shock me either if next year they go, all right, no more Anzacs. Anzacs get their own thing. We'll just do more Contenders in it, Oz, or a Road to UFC in Oz or something like that. Get them out of here because we've got everyone in the finals. Kit Campbell won both his fights as featured bouts. Like, there is a reason. They're going to start separating us because they want to give Asia a chance.
Yeah, I reckon they might too. Or they might just keep picking Australian-born Asians or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, we've got a few of those, so we're good.
True. All right, jumping into the actual UFC, light heavyweight, Junior Tafa, Billy Elekana. I don't have much to say about this one, lads. What do you guys think about this one?
Look, it's hard. It's hard, man. I think all the tougher boys should, once they leave the UFC, go sign with the International Brawling Championship and go be absolute superstars. MMA I think they did it because it was the toughest thing going at the moment. And then I think now we just go, hey boys, go to 4-ounce boxing and just go run the world, because all they want to do is knock people out. It's not that they can't do jiu-jitsu. It's not that they don't want to do jiu-jitsu, although it might be the first two things I said. It's just that they want to knock guys out. And that, unfortunately, in MMA, the other guy doesn't want to get knocked out. And so he's going to grapple. And I think Junior Tafa has very underrated takedown defense. I think he just gets worn down. And unfortunately, it's hard being that big, being that good, being that strong, and fighting off takedown after takedown after takedown after takedown. I think, unfortunately, we might see him on the other end of a boring decision, because I think he turns even the best striker into a grappler sometimes. And I think Junior knows he's on his way out just mentally as well. I mean, I'm speaking out of my ass, but I think he's kind of gone, oh, MMA is almost getting a bit boring. All these guys just want to wrestle. I might go and just take my talents to IBC, and they can afford him. I'm not even joking. So I would not be surprised if we see him out of the UFC after this fight, after a shit decision loss, and then the Tafa brothers to the moon.
Yeah, it make a good point, man. It'd be KFC or any of these places with bare knuckle boxing, small gloves or whatever, they'll kill it, right? And they got the name already from UFC. People will want to pay them to come over.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit of the like suffering from the popularity of the UFC, where in, another time, X amount of years ago, maybe a couple decades, when you actually think about it, these guys would go out there and do fantastic in K1, and that would be kind of sustainable. And you don't need to go over to MMA where you can get taken down, because K1 and Muay Thai are popular enough that that can be your career. And it's just the popularity shifted. MMA became super popular, and it kind of ended up in the way that it has. I'm glad to see Junior at light heavy again, even though this is his second fight at light heavy in the UFC. And honestly, his first fight, he lost via head and arm choke in the second round. I still thought that wasn't terrible, but I'm glad he's given it another crack at light heavy. I'd like to see kind of how he goes. Hopefully the gas tank holds up. He's not moving around as much weight. Hopefully he's a bit fitter out of camp to come into it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But the concept of Junior Tafa in the 4-ounce boxing gloves, that does seem nice.
True. Boys, next one, Serghei Spivac. Let's jump that one and go straight to Kaan Ofli versus Yizha.
Take that.
Here we go. Fuck it.
One point on that, man. There's something about the UFC that I reckon it's like a sick joke in a weird way. They're like, yep, that's right. 15 out of 16 fights are like Aussie or connected. They go, let's have this random Chinese guy versus a German guy. Or in this case, it's like, because I think they did it in Perth as well. There was just like a random women's strawweight fight. And I'm like, it must be people that they're just like, look, we can't get your fights. I don't care if you get taxed 40%. Head on over to Australia or you cut. And look, sometimes we get lucky and we get like a Prates, you know what I mean? Like it's like you don't really know how big a star he is. But the random non-Aussie fight, but also doesn't matter as much, is always funny to me. I always find that. I guarantee you that'll be like knockout of the night and we're just blowing past it.
They got to give them a certain amount of fights every year, right? So they're like, fuck, we got to fill this with a couple of those guys we need to give fights to. Who we got? Okay, Serghei, who else? Oh, put them over there. Throw them in.
Yeah.
For the local crowd, I don't mean to insult the guys. I wouldn't refer to it as the piss break, but that's the give your heart a rest. I didn't refer to it as the piss break. I specifically said not the piss break. But that's the give the local crowd their heart a rest. I was at Singapore for when Yuri won the title, and after I think we had 4 Aussies on the card that night, and after the last Aussie, I was like, oh, cool, now I can enjoy the show. Because, all the results are done. I can now chill out. I'm not as invested in this fight. I can kind of enjoy it as a fight. And that's what I think something like this is. Serghei's fought in Oz before. He beat Ty in Melbourne, so he kind of has fought before. But I think it's just like all right, Junior Tafa, you guys were invested in Junior and you were invested in the road to UFC. Now you can have a break, get a beer if you need to, just take a breath before the next guys come out.
All right. So
I was just going to say, one thing that people don't realize with the media is we cover all the Aussies, right? So it's like flat out in the back. And then when we get a fight like this, I actually welcome it, because me and Joel actually sit back a little bit, go get a bagel and relax a little bit, because we know that none of the Aussie fans want to hear from us about it. So it's good for us as well. So I take that back. I welcome it.
And then after the fight, no matter who wins, the media guy will come at the back. He goes, so do you even want to talk to him? And you're like, and you have to make the decision where you're like, maybe.
That was when I went to Perth, that last card, not the last one, but the one before. There was like a meet and greet thing at this clothing shop, and I went in and it's Yuri and Jack Della, and I'm like, fuck Yuri. I'm talking to Jack, fuck Yuri. It's funny, he's like one of the best in the world. Like everyone knows him. I don't give a fuck. He's not from Australia or New Zealand. Fuck him. Yeah. All right, next one, like I said, Kaan Ofli versus Yizha. He's a Chinese guy, was the winner of a road to UFC before. Both of them are coming off wins in the UFC, so they both want the win. They want to keep their ascendancy in the UFC. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think Kaan has finally got over the tough finale knockout. Because I was talking to him, and that literally has sat with him a little bit. So even in his last couple of fights, he hasn't been able to put it together because of this almost fear of getting knocked out. And then he's just gotten through it and just gone, you know what? I don't care. If I'm not going to fight with who I am, I'm going to be out of the UFC soon. And then that's why we saw the performance we saw against, was it Bellato? No.
Ricardo Ramos.
Ricardo Ramos. I did that exact same thing in my preview of it. And Ricardo Ramos, because he fought his teammate Jack Jenkins as well, didn't he?
One of them did. There's someone who has the same last name, and I don't know if they're related.
Yeah, whole thing. Anyway, but like to see Kaan sort of put it all together and finally do what he does best. I think we're gonna see. I can't tell you who's gonna win. I really don't, because I don't know where Kaan sits yet. In the wider scene of the featherweight division, but I think we will get the real version of Kaan Ofli now. That's my opinion.
That watched a tiny bit of that Yizha before, because he was in the previous Road to UFC fighting that Quillan guy. I think it was Road to UFC. I just remember him doing a real slick armbar off his back. It was super fast and nice, and he looked good and like a bit rangy. So I think both of them skill-wise, probably skill for skill, is very similar. Yizha's got a little bit of range, I think, on Ofli, just from remembering the size of him. But I think it'll be a close fight, a close scrap. I think it'll be a decision, whoever gets the win, because both of them are slick on the ground, both of them are slick standing. Let's see.
Yeah, both guys are 1 and 2 in the UFC. Yizha having got to the finals of a Road to UFC tournament, lost, and then come back the next year and then won the Road to UFC tournament that year. But for official UFC bouts in the UFC, they are both 1 and 2. I think we're seeing Kaan kind of come into his own, as Mitch said, maybe getting over the finale of Tough, but also the mix between I need to fight how I'm going to fight or I'm going to get cut, and also Kaan's got a son now, and that can really like light a fire under you. It changes your perspective a lot. Speaking as someone who has no kids, I would assume it changes your perspective a lot. And like he was always like a guy a family man, so he was always fighting to provide for people and all those types of things. But like, there's something at home to, hey man, you're not taking this away from my kids type thing. But I think both of these guys are in a position where it's like they both really need to win this fight.
Don't you feel like, I don't know, there's something about Kaan. I think he's got all the tools and the potential to go the whole way, but there's some block sometimes, something where his mindset isn't exactly right. I'm not sure. Just my feeling on it after talking to him a few times. Thoughts?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I think he would almost agree with you, because he's incredibly talented and he has made many sacrifices for the career as well. So he's no sort of stranger to that. But yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. Like, we have not seen like the real Kaan Ofli, and I reckon if you asked him, there's only a handful of times we saw it on the regional scene where he was really like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and he felt like that last one. Like you said, hopefully it's a coming out. Hopefully he's settled. He's got the baby might have put him in the right mindset to move forward. Let's hope he gets there, because I think he can.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so next one we got Jonathan Micallef versus Oban Elliott. Thoughts about this one?
Oh, the old rebook, the old Oban Elliott at UFC Fight Night in Perth came out with a sickness. And then that fight with Jono was off. The UFC was like, don't worry, Jono, we'll get you a fight real quick. We'll turn you around. Then they went for ages, and then they have come back and gone, hey, how about the same guy, but just later? So he gets the Welsh gangster. I think it's, once again, a real coming out party for Jono Micallef. I liked Oban Elliott. He's a really, really great guy. He's hit the page up a few times as well. I think he wants to come on and talk some shit, so I'm welcoming that. But I just think Jono's too big. Like, he is one of the biggest welterweights, I swear to God, I've ever seen. If you see the photo of him standing next to Jimmy Crute and Rob Whittaker, it's one of like the scariest things you'll ever see. That's a welterweight, and he's taller and thicker than both of them. I comment on that man's physique more than I should, but it's just a big bag of rocks wrapped in glad wrap. He's so talented. I think it's performance of the night for Jono Micallef, and I think it really, really puts him on the map, as biased as I can be.
I reckon his range will do him a few favors too. He's so rangy and kind of slightly unorthodox with his timing, and that I think he'll kill it too. I think I got John as well, man. Thoughts, Joel?
Yeah, Oban gets hit with the, we don't care that you're sick, make the flight again. All the way down here again. We do not care. I'm happy this fight got rebooked. I think if you look at Jono's last opponent and then who they've booked him up now, I think it's an insight to maybe how the UFC feel about Jono. These are not two easy first fights to be in the UFC. Kevin Jusay is a fantastic fighter, and then Oban Elliott I think is also great. Oban is only lost once in the UFC, and I feel like that's for a reason. But yeah, I really think I could see Jono really kind of just marching forward and marching him down, almost similar to what he did with Kevin. We've seen in Oban's last fight that Oban is coming off a decision loss. I feel like it's because Oban was too passive. He got backed into the cage a lot. He got walked down for a lot of instances in that fight. Maybe that teaches something. Maybe Oban knows, okay, I got to be on the front foot against this guy. But how difficult is it to be on the front foot against a guy like John Micallef, who the size factor and the intimidation factor is definitely part of it. And also, like, Jono doesn't really take a back step that much either. And he hits very hard. And he got his black belt recently. So just when you thought he couldn't get any scarier.
That's it. Awesome. If we jump next one, man, because I'm pretty pumped about the next one, Quillan Salkilld versus Rongzhu. We've got Quillan, obviously a rising star. Everyone's seen him. His KO of Jubilee, his next KO with a head kick, man. He's everywhere. He's all over social media. But then you got Rongzhu, our adopted Kiwi brother, over at CKB. He's doing really well too. He had an awesome fight of the night, man. This could be a really amazing performance. Like everyone be kind of expecting, I think, Quillan to pull out another cat or rabbit from his hat. But Rongzhu's a tough opponent, man. He's tough as nails. He's CKB, man. They're masters. I don't know if you talk to these guys much and some of their people that taught them. They're fucking masters at what they do. Their game plans are amazing. They're going to be studying Quillan and looking for holes, and no doubt they're identifying some. So let's see if Rongzhu can capitalize or if Quillan can do the next KO. What do you think?
Oh yeah, and without a doubt, like you said, Rongzhu's, I think he's had 30 fights or something. He's been around a long time and he's very experienced. And if you can get through one session at CKB, like the stories I hear about like when you guys come in and Dan Hooker essentially like is the measuring stick, so he'll go and just beat the shit out of them allegedly, and then just see how they react. And even if they lose, it's like, how do you react? Like, are you like or are you like and that'll determine whether you can stay. Like some of these stories I've heard are insane. So he's definitely tough. Obviously, some of the best minds in the sport at CKB. With that being said, though, Quillan Salkilld round 2 submission. I think Salkilld will. I think Salkilld will fight for a belt, and I am as bias can be. But you can't tell me you don't watch that kid. You don't think he's something special.
The funny thing is, like, everyone's going to be watching him. Like, I reckon Rongzhu in his mind anyway, because his coaches will probably tell him otherwise. Rongzhu in his mind's going to think he's coming to stand up fight with him, when really Quillan's strength is on the ground and grappling, and his strength, like his pure strength. We haven't seen that yet. I'm waiting to see him just tear someone apart on the ground, but it hasn't happened just yet. Let's see.
He's incredible.
Joel, thoughts on it?
Well, I'm not sure when Rongzhu made the jump to CKB, but if I would assume it was probably 2 fights ago when the winning streak started. Definitely in the Cody Steele fight. I mean, you kind of spoke on how good the pedigree of CKB are. I've spoken to Eugene about Rongzhu before. He kind of gave me the lowdown. And I think, the experience is absolutely a huge factor as well. As Mitch said, this guy's had over 30 fights. So yet again, it's kind of what I touched on with Jono, but it's like it gives an insight into what the UFC think of Quillan, where they're like, all right, now we'll give you like a guy who's had heaps of fights. I think the Nasrat win is huge. And yeah, it is that thing of Quillan kind of, if this metaphor makes any sense, Quillan has the ball right now, and it's his job to kind of run with it. Like he will be, despite him only having 11 fights in his career, I think he is kind of the A side of this, and not just because it's in Oz. It's like, I don't know how, you guys feel about it, because obviously these are UFC talents that are on the world stage, of course it'll happen. But I'll be like scrolling Instagram. Like I saw there was like a AI edit of Quillan where it's like him and all his opponents behind him, and they're all in like suits of armor. And they're like, dude, Quillan's fighting everyone who borders Pakistan. And it's like, bro, that's my mate Quillan. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like who's doing this,
Yeah, he's special.
Yes, yeah. I think there's a very bright future for Quillan Salkilld.
All right, so we all got Quillan, but I'm hoping for a nice fight. I think this will be a good one, but he needs more of a test, to be honest. So let's see if Rongzhu can come through. Now, next one, Jacob Malkoun versus Torres Finney. Torres Finney being the best wet blanket in all of UFC. Boring ass fight. I hate fucking watching him. I'm hoping Jake is pretty skilled with the wrestling. I hope he can counter him and just smash his face in. Cam started the back end contender. He smashed his face in a bit, but didn't quite get there. Got controlled a bit too much. Let's see if Jacob can do that. I'm counting on Jacob to smash this fool. Thoughts?
Yeah, you speak like a man that doesn't have to be backstage with these fighters.
Maybe he doesn't see me there, right? Walking around.
Me and Joel have to word it a little bit differently. But like I said, I think I said in the comments, it should be a tag team match between Cam Rouston, Jacob Malkoun taking on Cody Brundage and Therese Finney, because they all have history with each other. They all there's like disqualifications in there. There's like horrible decisions. I do think Therese Finney might be just that touch too much for Malkoun in terms of like laying on him and getting the decision. Do I think that Malkoun is severely underrated? I think he is the least famous UFC fighter we have in this country. He, day in and day out, goes to absolute war with Rob Whittaker. He gets no love. I think the last time anyone even talked about him in Australia was like when he fought on Eternal in Melbourne. And then for some reason, he just gets no love. And I don't know why it is. He's actually quite funny. And I think he's a ADCC trialist winner or something along those lines. Like he's done some incredible shit. He can box. I think he's got some amateur boxing experience. But yeah, I don't know. He just gets no love. I'm actually going to go for the upset here and go Malkoun via decision.
Yeah, I don't want to jump in again on your Joel, but I reckon Jacob and their team's pretty focused on wrestling, man. Look at Rob's wrestling defense and that, man. I think he's going to have the wrestling defense, and I think he's better in the stand up, obviously, than Therese. So I got Jacob maybe by KO.
I'll say I'm hoping for something like that. I'm hoping this is like when a wrestler and a wrestler fight and neither of them can take each other down. So they're like, all right, we can't do that. So now we just have to punch each other. That's what I'm hoping for, because if not, I could see the crowd turning on this fight pretty quickly. Also, Jacob Malkoun, the only man in the past probably 10 plus years who ever got in trouble for a blow to the back of the head. It feels like something that is not enforced anymore. And then in the Cody Brundage fight, they're like, oh yeah, that's a rule. I forgot that is in the rules. Yeah. All right, you're in trouble now. But yeah, I'm hoping for I can't take you down, you can't take me down, so let's just punch each other.
Did you guys see?
Did he also get? Yeah, I was going to say, did he get knocked out by a hip or knock someone else out with? That was
in his next fight, Andre Petrosky. He stuffed a takedown, and then that arguably did the knockout. Although people from his team said it was the hook. Afterwards, I got a message saying no, it was a punch, but it did look like he hipped that guy to death.
That looks shady as fuck, that fight, man. If anyone had any allegations, the punch kind of just skimmed off the top of his head. It's fucking so shady looking. Hey, jumping on the next one, Cam Rouston, Cody Brundage. I must say, the Battle Giraffe, I love him, bro. He's awesome. He's the best guy. He's doing really well. I just want to see him continue that rise and smash Cody Brundage. Obviously, it's a decent fighter against him. I just can't think of Cam not winning at this point. I'm just too much of a fanboy. I want him to smash him. Thoughts, boys?
Oh, without a doubt. I think Cam Rouston, I think he will have an okay UFC career. I then think he's going to go and be somewhat of the face of MMA media. I think he'll be a guy that goes on to like host some MMA show for New Zealand or Australia. I think he's got the personality, he's got the intellect, he's articulate. He is one of those guys that's going to take the fame, as Dana White says. You know, take the fame you get in the UFC, and he's going to turn it into so many massive opportunities. I think in terms of the fight, I think we're going to see him return to a bit of his jiu-jitsu. I think I can see a submission coming because, yeah, he's got this great kickboxing experience and all this sort of stuff, and he's had some great knockouts. I think people forget how dangerous that man is on the ground. And I think Rouston is going to sort of remind everyone, and I think I'm going to pick second round armbar.
Joel?
Very nice. I like the specific as well of the exact sub. Yeah, Cam's a guy who, you know, he should have been in the UFC probably a little bit, you know, maybe a little bit ago. Obviously lost to Torres Finney, boo, and then had to earn that opportunity back. I had a conversation with him after his last fight where I said, like, Cam, I knew you were good, but 2 first-round KOs on the UFC level, I was like, oh my God, bro. Like, he has really come into his own. But on the regional, see, that's a funny thing. Yet again, talking about that, knowing the guys from the regional, then they make the UFC, and you see people who didn't know him on the regional. Cam's a jiu-jitsu guy. Cam got a calf slicer like less than a year ago, or just over a year ago in an MMA fight, and you're like, you never see that. So I could also see him using that grappling. His opponent is coming in on very weird in his last 4. It's a no contest. It's a win. It's a result overturned, and then it's a split decision loss. It's kind of very weird energy to be coming in with for Cody Brundage. So I don't know. Like I could see, I'm every answer for me around who I think is going to win is going to be the Aussies. But I do think maybe Cam shows off a little bit more of his grappling if the opportunity presents itself. I think Cam hasn't showed off the wrestling because the opportunity didn't present himself. He knocked the guy out too quickly.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I think Cody Brundage is a good athletic guy. I think Cam will keep him on the end of his range though, and probably work him there. I'm not so sure if he can get that entry for the takedown and the calf slicer or whatever he's going to pull off. But let's see. I'm banking on Cam probably by points, mainly through the striking. It's my pickup. Yeah,
I'm hoping for a go-go plata.
Go plana, calf slicer, armbar, one of the 3. Yeah. All right, next one, Jimmy Crute, Dustin Jacoby. Jacoby's a gun glory kickboxer. Really nice stand-up. Jimmy's another one of those ones that has all the skills, all the potential, hasn't quite got there. Always disappointed in Jimmy not getting there because I feel like he should have been one of those guys at the top a long time ago. Thoughts?
Oh, yeah, but Jimmy is he's got Jesus on his side now, and he's weirdly like that's the best cornerman ever. Because Jimmy seems to just have honestly like he's gone to a higher level, and he can strike with anyone. He is athletic as shit. Like the way he moves, he can train with the lighter guys. He's big. He's got dexterity. Like he's flexible in how he moves. He can wrestle. I think with a guy like Dustin, I reckon he's going to be able to take him down, control him, and I think either ultimately finish him, but it will be through like, elbow, he turns, rear naked choke. Like I think it's going to be like a real gritty, rough performance from Jimmy. But I think this is now when we start talking about Jimmy fighting guys in the top 15, top 10. Like I think this is the fight that launches him.
I reckon the timing, if he times him coming in, Jacoby's obviously mostly a stand-up fighter. I think Jimmy needs to just time it, maybe throw an overhand right. He gets hurt by the small glove sometimes, Jacoby, even though he's a stand-up guy. I think Jimmy Crute, big overhand, double leg, take him down and submit him somehow. But yeah, he's got to get there first, and he's got to do it probably early. I think Jimmy fades pretty quickly. I think he's got to do it in the first 1 or 2 rounds, Let's see how that goes. What are your thoughts, Joel?
I see Jimmy has to utilize that grappling here. I could see every round starts on the feet. I see like a come out, a glove touch. Jacoby lands like a heavy leg kick, and Jimmy's like, "Oh yeah, fuck that," and then shoots in like a single or something, ankle pick, something. Uses that wrestling, gets Jacoby down. I was gonna do a specific sub prediction. I was gonna say Kimura. I don't know why, but Kimura is talking to me right now. But yeah, it's the like age old, the old striker versus grappler matchup type thing, and I just think Jimmy has fought enough of those guys and effectively used his wrestling than Jacoby has.
I must say, I love seeing Sammy Greco around too. This guy's a beastly legend, and obviously with him in your corner, you're going to be able to work some of those. He's going to teach him how to get around that kickboxing guy as well, right?
Did you ever hear did you ever hear the story of when Jimmy Crute was on his skid and he went and put his gloves down in the middle of the cage, and Sam Greco goes, "Pick your fucking gloves up." And then essentially like talked him out of retirement. Like I think he was just frustrated. It was something along those lines, and I was like, "That's as Sam Greco as ever. Like he knows you better than you know you." Mentor.
Jumping on the next one.
Last thing on Jimmy. Mitch, you mentioned kind of the ranking thing. When you look at Dustin Jacoby, he is kind of the benchmark for breaking into those rankings. When you look at his last wins, his losses are Khalil Roundtree, Alonzo Menafield, and Dominic Reyes. Those are 3 of the last 4 losses, guys who are now all in the top 15, if not vying for titles. Whereas the wins are your Kennedy and Chukwu, your Bruno Lopez's. Like he is kind of if you can beat me, you can get to go to the rankings. But if you can't beat me, you don't get to go to the rankings.
Cool. All right, jumping on what I just mentioned. Tai Tuivasa, Taliesin Teixeira. Thoughts on this fight? I'm thinking a big one, right? First round KO for Tai. What do you guys think?
The opposite. I think Ty's done. I fucking love Ty. I love Ty more than anyone in this world. I think he's the biggest star we've ever had. Like, I think he's bigger than Volk. Like, I think he's just the biggest star we've ever had. He's just wild, at least on like that pop culture-y sort of like he walks into a bar, the decibels hit, 20 for Volk, it's 30 for Ty. Like, I don't know why, but the country loves him. I think he's done with the UFC. I think he maybe does one or two as like a 4-ounce boxing thing. And then I think he's got a lot of businesses and everything. And I think he's just done. I think this will be his best performance in a long time. But I do think that maybe it won't be enough. But you got to remember too, like, he's like, what, 30, 31? Like, he's still young as shit as a heavyweight. Like, he still has like a lot of time. So if he wants to put it together and have his career sort of, because you're only, 1 or 2 fights away from the title at heavyweight. But I do think that, unfortunately, I think he's going to be on the wrong end of it. But then I think we're going to see him become a bigger star than ever, if that makes sense.
32 years old, but look at 32 versus 26. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the UFC are doing Tai any favors with this. When you look at the run that Taliesin is on, 7 wins by KO, 1 win by sub. He is coming off the first loss of his career, and it was a KO to Derek Lewis. You never really know how someone will kind of bounce back from a knockout loss, especially a quick one, less than 35 seconds. But this is, it's even though in the terms of heavyweight, Tai has got his whole, like, there is so much time left for Tai as a heavyweight fighter. This is the game of the old get fed to the young, and this guy's 26. He's on a tear. I think the UFC want Taliesin to be someone. And even though I had this conversation with someone, I think it might have been the Who the Fuck Boys, but like the UFC sometimes, like, they've put all the Aussies on this card because they're going for the Aussie market. Like, they're appealing to the crowd. The UFC don't necessarily want, like, they don't care who wins. They just care that you got to see him type thing. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Tai pulls it off, because Ty's a guy who can do that, and everyone, not saying he only has a puncher's chance, but everyone has that at heavyweight, especially Tai. He's such a powerful guy. That photo he posted the other day where he has abs, I don't know if that's real or not, because he titled it. It's not real. Yeah, so he titled it TAI, like artificial intelligence, Tuivasa. I would really like Tai to be in shape, because the last times I've seen him, I've been like, ooh, this doesn't look like a good way to move around. But I don't think they're not doing him as solid in what will be a fight coming off a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight losing streak.
All right. Jumping to the next one, lightweight. I don't want to skip this one, even though there's no Aussies. Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy. Both of them are kind of adopted by us a little bit too, because Fiziev worked with heaps of the Kiwis over in Thailand. He's not too far away. Rufy's also been working with the CKB lads a little bit. A good one too. Two good strikers. But for me, I think Fiziev some way is a little bit underrated. I don't think anyone really understands how good a striker he really is. The fight with him and Brad Riddell was an awesome clinic of striking skills. I think that Fiziev is actually much better than Rufy, and I think Rufy's been looking good, but he hasn't fought this sort of caliber. So I'm thinking Fiziev by KO. Do you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think Fiziev, he's actually got really good grappling, like really good wrestling as well. And I think he'll put it together and probably just grind out a decision victory against Rufy, where he'll, put his striking on display, but then do enough to sort of dominate in terms of the judges. I think Fiziev is, he was at one point top 5, you know what I mean? Talking contender fights. And then Rufy is probably right now that top 15, top 10 type of guy. Where he's at. I do like the Australian connection, like you said. Fiziev works with a lot of the New Zealanders, and then Rufy, I think, is signed by Engage, which is, of course, very heavily influenced by Australia and New Zealand. I think it'll be exciting for a little bit, but I think ultimately Fiziev will take out the decision victory.
Thoughts, Joel?
I think they're putting this fight together at least from the perspective of Rufy. This is kind of the bounce back test. Okay, you got a You got submitted by Benoit Saint Denis. You hadn't really come up against a guy who had that success against you in the grappling. We'll do Fiziev next. See how he uses his wrestling skill against you, and then we'll kind of see where we go from here. It would not surprise me if we see Rufi kind of bounce back, put on a great performance, and put on a performance that kind of tries to distance itself from Benoit Saint Denis. Like, get away. All right, everyone forget that happened. Get back on the hype train. The Fighting Nerds took kind of a big hit in about maybe a month or 2 month period where it was like, we're all undefeated. And then that very quickly stopped happening. And so I think it would not surprise me if Rufi ends up getting the win here and does it in a way that makes everyone forget about the Benoit Saint Denis fight.
You know, what I think about it is Fiziev, he's been in Thailand for so long, and the guys that trained there, like Dan and Kai and the guys that trained at Tiger Muay Thai before, they were saying how they get so many looks. You know, you're getting all these internationals come through. And Fiziev's been working out of there for a decade, I'd say, something like that, right? Like a long time. I don't think there's anything Rufi can do that he hasn't seen before. And I think that'll be the strength for him because Rufi kind of plays on that a bit. He's got a few weird angles, a few different shots that people don't expect. But I think Fiziev is ready for everything, having been in a camp where there's people coming and going from every country around the world forever. I think he's ready for anything stand-up wise. You know, I don't think Rufi can offer anything that he hasn't seen. That's kind of my feeling. That's why I reckon Fiziev will get it. Yeah. Jumping on to Mr. Dan Hooker versus BSD, Benoit Saint Denis. It's hard being a Dan Hooker fan, a big fan. Watched him for probably more than 11 years or something. First fought in Macau. He fought over here in the building I work at, actually, in the early days. And, yeah, it's hard being a fan because he has his good days, he has his bad days. What do you think this will be, a good day or a bad day for Dan Hooker?
I feel like he beats the guys. Like, he's the ultimate, I don't want to say fraud checker because that's so disrespectful, but like, if you're not going to be a world champion, like he finds out real quick. Like, he's the guy that knocks you back down. Like Gamera, all those guys, like, he's just got this ability to be like, you're pretty good, but you're not that good. I'm permanently sixth in the ranking. Like, you'll never be top 5. Like, he's like that guy. He's like the ultimate, I don't want to say gatekeeper, but like, he's the ultimate measuring stick. And I feel like Dan Hooker will take a guy on a 3-fight win streak. He's like, yeah, but like, who've you beat? And then you fight Dan Hooker. And it's like, look, for some reason, when you beat Dan Hooker, no one seems to care. Everyone's like, whatever. Like, but it doesn't make any sense. Go look at all of his losses. Like, they're all guys that either like ended up fighting for the title or like anything along those lines. So, look, do I think Dan will get it done? I do not. And I love Dan Hooker, but I do not. I actually think Denis will squeak one out in a decision.
Joel?
It's a funny thing because it feels like when this fight got announced, I was like, oh shit, that's a quick turnaround for Dan. Well, yeah, because like he had a year off because of injury. So it's like any fight booked right after the other one, I'm like, oh my God, he's turning around so quickly. But I think he ended up pretty all right after the Arman fight. So I think he'll be okay. In kind of, basing off what Mitch said a little bit, Dan Hooker, there are times where Dan Hooker beats the guy that you don't think he's meant to beat. All right, we'll build him off you. Cool. Give your number to this guy. And then Dan's like, no. And I think like the Gamrot fight was a great example of that. I think everyone was like, Gamrot's going to beat Dan. And then Dan was like, no. And I think so much of that is kind of just like Dan's attitude. There was this great edit that went around fight week of the Arman fight where he gave this big answer about, this guy probably trains harder than me. He's got better jits. He's younger. He probably takes better care of his body, probably drinks less, probably parties less, all those things. But it's a fist fight and you can't count Dan Hooker out of a fist fight. And I think that'll be this. I think maybe Benoit might maybe underestimate Dan a little bit. And I think it'll be maybe a harder night in the office for Benoit than he expects. And I see maybe Dan getting a decision.
Yeah, I would like to see Gamrot Dan come back again and just smash his face in, as Dan would put it. Or they go out the back and have a 1-minute scrap and it goes that way a bit easier, make it a bit easier for him. But yeah, no, I'm banking on Dan to come back, Gamrot Dan, stuff the takedowns, smash his face in.
Well, I'm very interested in, I don't know if you guys saw after the Arman fight, you mentioned there, Mitch, about, he's kind of the guy who, I think kind of maybe the way you said it was perfect about like the I am number 6 Like, this is where I stay. And if you want to get into the top 5, you have to go through me. Dan's kind of self-admitted to that. He, in the post-fight he did with Oscar Willis, he's like, probably never going to get a chance to touch a belt, but I'm going to ruin as many people as I can. And that's like, that can be cool because maybe that allows him to be a little bit freer in there. Maybe he's not as worried about the belt, but also that also worries me a bit where I'm like, hey bro, maybe don't go out there to just stop people from making the belt. Like, it's the mindset makes me go like, that could either be really good or really bad for you. And I think this will be the fight that will let us know.
Yeah, he wants to ruin dreams, right? But the thing is, if they keep feeding him people from below, he can keep staying in there as long as possible. If he keeps moving up, he might have a few losses in a row and they cut him. But if he hits a few of those up-and-comers, he's going to stop a few. He's going to stay there as long as he can. He's going to earn as much money as he can. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
Main event, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. It seems like a bit of a foregone conclusion from everyone's mind that Volk will just beat him easily again. I think you guys kind of probably feel the same way, that if the same Volk comes back, if there's no injuries or any other issues in there, he's probably going to outskill him again. The only thing is, he had that trick. He was moving to the left a lot, right? He was doing a bit of the different sort of footwork than he normally does, putting himself in danger in a way. And you'd think Diego would have worked that out. So there might be some changes in that way. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I actually think first round, first minute, Diego Lopez clips him. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to anger everyone a little bit more. No, I think Volk is just a step above. I really do. He knows it's near the end, and he's that type of guy that I think he wants one more shot at greatness, right? And he's looking at the featherweights, and he's going, okay, Lerone Murphy, Movsar, Diego Lopez again. That doesn't really that's not like that last shot at glory. It's just sort of doing what he does and doing what we know he can do. But I think he strings a couple together quite quickly. And then I think he goes kind of like one more, like, give me a shot at Ilya one last time. I reckon that in the pro wrestling term, I think he goes out on his back when Volk finally does retire in 18 months, 2 years. I think he does it on a loss, and I think he does it chasing greatness. And then I think he jumps on the mic after, and he's just like, hey, that's the game. You reach and sometimes you fall short. And I think that is the perfect end to Volk's career. I don't want to see him beat Diego Lopez and then ride off into the sunset. That's not the Volk we know. We know him like reaching for something and maybe just falling short, but he's showing everyone that like that's what you do, and that's being Aussie. So I do think it's a tough task, but I think he walks through Diego Lopez perhaps maybe easier than the first time, and that is wildly disrespectful to Mr. Lopez, and I know that. But I just think Volk has a mission, and he knows sort of what he needs to do to get there.
Walk out on his shield. I reckon he might just do that Evloev one, because you can see he wants that one. He wants to give that guy the shot because that's the guy that really deserves it, but he's not a name enough to kind of fight at that level. Yeah.
I was surprised by the amount of kind of pushback this fight got when it was announced. Like, don't get me wrong, if it was Evloev or Murphy, I wouldn't have been like upset. I don't think Diego Lopez knows that. I saw Diego say, he was like, listen, I don't think I should fight for the belt either, but they offered it to me, so I'm going to say yes. But like, comment sections were like, this is fucking bullshit. I was like, wow, dude, there was like a lot of pushback, and Volk, didn't seem too thrilled about it. I think ultimately, Volk is the better, technical fighter. I think technically he is so far above everyone else in the division. I also think early on in this fight, I would like to see Alex do something that puts Diego on the back foot. I think Diego is probably going to come into this with a little bit more of like, I'm just going to walk forward and kind of see what happens. Not having a game plan, but like, let's really put the pressure on Volk, because I think that's the moments he had success in their first fight was when he put Volk on the back foot. So I would like Volk to do something early and get that respect and force Diego to be on the back foot, not just like landing more shots. Like, I'd love to see Volk clip Diego in a way. Like, he didn't, I don't know if he fully dropped Diego, but like he hit Diego and Diego fell into the cage. Like, the cage kept him up. I would like there to be a couple more moments of that early, so Volk gets the respect, and then can put on kind of like a classic Volkanovski performance decision. He puts on a masterclass kind of every time he goes out there. It's a bit of like the like what you said at the top, Toby, where it's like, I don't know how you guys felt during Volk's reign, but during Volk's reign, I was like, this guy's unbeatable. Like, it's like every fight he will win. Like, that's how I felt. And so that's why when there was the losses, it kind of took me, I was like, oh my God, Superman bleeds. Like, you get this kind of weird feeling. And I felt similarly during the Diego fight, but I would just like him to really, I think Diego will come into this with a little bit more confidence, and I would like Volkanovski to squash it.
You know, you talk about Volk's performance, man. I still look back at that Micallef, the first fight. It's like he did so well. And you look at all the fights that Micallef has now, I'm always just referring back to that fight thinking, Volk pretty much won. All these guys are getting finished pretty easily now, right? So just shows how good he is. A weight division up, nearly beats one of the greatest of all time. You know, it's an amazing fight. I'd like to see him kind of do it again. I don't know. I'd like to see him, maybe if he can't get the fight you mentioned, then maybe he could fight Islam again at some point. You know, that wouldn't be a bad one.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Does Islam have to come back down? Do they meet in the middle? Are we getting welterweight back? Bro?
Free weight, man. They can fight it whatever way they want just for a super.
Well, it's also like if you've ever grappled or trained with anyone, especially grappled with a guy that is like short, thick, and kind of built like a fire hydrant, they are impossible to catch in anything. And if you look at every guy that Islam's fought, the longer and lankier they are, the more success he has against them, because he's got things to grab. He's got necks. I think with Volk, he just like struggles. He's like, I can't hold this man down. And I think that's part of it. Like it's the whole thing of like styles make fights. Like, you know, does Jack Della do better against Volk than Jack Della did against Islam? Probably. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but Islam, he's like Achilles' heel seems to be like the nugget of a man. Like he doesn't know, he can't really do it all. And I think obviously skill included, but like I've just noticed that a little bit. Like Volk seems to be like a kryptonite for a lot of like guys trying to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Bro, you're a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, right? Recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. How often you training, bro? Every day or?
Not well, but yeah.
Awesome. Joel, what about you, bro? Do you train anything? Does that interest?
Yeah, I probably should have got my blue belt probably like a year ago, but you kind of just
I'll give it to you.
Stop going. Oh, can you do that now?
Yeah, I got that power. I could have done it last year. I'll do it now.
Did you have to be purple belt to give out belts?
You just have to be higher than the other guy.
Oh, dude. That's awesome. Let's take we'll at the thing. We'll take the photo. Finally got my promotion, dude. I'll wear a gi to the press conference.
All you have to do
is... Are you still training?
Jiu-jitsu has been a bad year. I train striking all the time. I started out striking, but I've been touching on jiu-jitsu on and off since the 90s. Yeah. Like I'm one of those guys that I've seen everyone get past me, and there are all these black belts walking around that I used to beat. It's embarrassing. Now they just destroy me. But I have plans again. Like I kind of want to compete in that old man's division next year sometime. So we'll see how we go. I'm in my 50s now, so kind of looking forward to having a bit of competition. I don't want to step back in and get smashed in the face anymore like I did when I'm young, but I don't mind having a grapple. So I got to get back there. The problem is here, there's no choices. You've got two gyms that are kind of competing, and I'm just not, I don't know, I'm not really sold. I kind of want a more competition style gym, and it's kind of more technical, and you know, jiu-jitsu is different sort of styles, very technical. I'm not the biggest fan of a technical style. I kind of want a real base working Gracie style, you know. I'm not interested in not learning a new guard or anything, you know.
Yeah, I get you.
Mitch, was that guy who was like breaking down your video the other day? I don't know what language it was in. You said you ran it through Google Translate. What was he saying?
He was saying, so we're showing some like Berimbillo roll into like taking the back from like leg lock defense, and it was literally like the guy was going, look at these guys, see how they're drilling it nice and slow and controlled. He's like, that is the safe way to do it. And me, but me and the guy that was doing it, I was like, I don't know, I thought I was going pretty fast. Like I was trying to do it pretty fast. The guy's like, look at how controlled and slow he is. That's perfect.
You know, as I get older, the worst thing about training and that is I'll see a video of myself and go, I'm in fucking slow motion. What the fuck happened? Oh my God.
What is going on the pads, man? I feel like Michael Chandler, and then I watch it and I'm like, fucking delete that shit.
True. Anyway, lads, thank you so much for your time. It's been a long one. Hope we can do it again sometime for the next card that we're all interested in. But yeah, it was cool. And
yes, thank you for having us.
Again.
Yeah, absolutely. Chat soon, gentlemen.
Cool. Thanks, lads. See ya.